is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to Dope Interviews, brought to you by the mighty 19 Media Group. I'm your host, Warren Shaw. Welcome again to Season 5. Friends and family in the mix all season long. And on this week's edition, I have my effing guy. If you know what it is, you know what it is. Jimmy Rivera. He is the game operations specialist or manager now for the Miami Heat. Jeremy, what's good, family? So good to see you.
What is up, man? It is great to see you. First of all, it is an honor to be on your platform and for your audience. We've known each other for 10 plus years. Wow. It is game operations specialist, which is another word for manager, but same duties. But yes, it is an honor to be here. Thank you for having me, man. It is. Let's get going.
Let's get it popping, man. So, why I brought you on, Jeremy, is a lot of people want to get into the sports game, right? They want to hey, I think this would be an amazing job. You and I share a passion for sports, like different teams, of course, but we share a passion for sports. Many moons ago, I got to work as an intern for the New York Knicks. You started as an intern, I believe, for the Miami Heat, and have turned that into a full-time job now. For this was season what for you? Season 9?
This is season 10. I just completed season 10.
All right. So again, got to get my facts right. So put some respect on your name. A decade in, you got a dime bag in this joint. How did you land that job initially? Obviously, you are a Heat fan, so that helps.
Yeah.
But how did you land that job initially and kind of work your way up to being in a full-time role from an internship?
Well, let's take it back to when we met.
Sure.
We met at CBS. I was 18 years old. You were. I was
around. I was not 18. Yeah.
Our job at CBS Interactive, where I was a young kid, and you kind of took me under your wing and showed me the ropes of what CBS was. And for your audience that doesn't know what we did at CBS Interactive, was the coolest part-time job you could have is literally you sit at a TV and a computer and you watch basketball games and you input the game trackers. So Warren would be my spotter. I'll be on the computer and Warren would say, Bam Adebayo layup, assisted by Jimmy Butler. And then you'll go Robert Williams layup, assisted by Jason Tatum. And then Jimmy Butler, 3-point shot, miss, defensive rebound, Jason Tatum. And that's just our lingo. That'll be our lingo for a whole game, right? That's how our relationship started. You were a Celtic fan. I was a Heat fan at that time. The Big Three just started. That was 2011 when I got in.
Rough time for me.
Rough time. And my internship started in 2013 when the Big Three won. After the Big Three won their second title, I was still at CBS Interactive. I was my intern year. I was doing CBS Interactive and the Heat. So they came, obviously, when they come to a career fair, I needed an internship, applied, and I got it. I was a community affairs intern at the time. And this is where you and I kind of spoke, because you kind of had some community affairs background with the Knicks, and you kind of asked me about it, and I told you. So did that for a whole year. Community affairs, I just wanted my foot in the door, to be honest. My whole goal was I wanted to be a scout, man. I was a journalism major. We talked about this. I was a journalism major before, and when I got into journalism, I was like, hey, I don't like this anymore. It's too clickbaity. It's too much. And that's why I also worked at CBS. I was like, oh, yeah, get my foot in the door. I just didn't like it. It's too TMZ. You wanted to, you had to ruin people's lives to get a story, to get a paycheck. And I was not feeling it. That wasn't me. I'm a storyteller. So if telling stories is not what's going to get a platform, and it's crazy what it is now. It's exactly everything I thought it was going to be. It is clickbait.
You're just early.
Yeah, I was early. I saw it happen early, and it turned into like, hey, so I want to get into the game. I want to be part of an organization. So I got into, the Miami Heat, and, for that whole year, LeBron's last season was my first year at the organization. And what happened was that, my personality stuck out, being, you can have all the hard work in the world, but if you don't stick out from a personality standpoint and be one of the crew, right? Be somebody that somebody wants to go get lunch with or get a drink with or talk to. That matters. And luckily I met the game presentation crew, game operations, and we'll get into what that is later. they saw me on the second day, which is my second day on the job as an intern. I had to escort Heat players to their media day shoots, intro shoot. And so, mind you, I just signed the paperwork. I was just a fan a week ago. I had to go, hey, you have to escort players. I was like, oh. So I get there on a bus, I'm on a walkie-talkie, and the first player I get is LeBron James. And I'm just like, yo.
That's wild.
Mind you, I'm 20 years old. So I'm on a bus. LeBron literally sits, if you think of a coach bus, I sat next to LeBron. We're just, and the IO is between me and him. And I just see this big guy. And it was like,
Ink's not even drive, guy. You're second day in. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
And I'm just like, all right, I popped my cherry. This is the pop your cherry of you cannot be a fan anymore. I was like, how you doing, Mr. James? He's like, yeah, how you doing? And, this is where I noticed people have power, how much power this guy had. So we're driving back. And I believe it wasn't Maverick in the bus. It was another guy. I think it's one of his top security guys with him. And we're passing by the billboard, and this is when he just had this 2K. The 2K game came out with him on the cover when he throws the powder, and it's someone graffitied it, and I think someone put like a crown on it. It was like something, some artist did something on it. He looks at it and he goes, "I want that gone. I want that fixed." The next day, it's gone. The next day, I was like, "Yo!" And that's how it was like, welcome to the NBA, welcome to the league. And so, that whole year was just, you're being around the big three. This is the final year. You're seeing the finals for the first time. It was really like, it was a boot camp to where I'm at now. Like I needed, like that internship was pivotal. As much as like at hard times, ups and downs, it was really like, hey, you are around. The next player right after LeBron I had was Ray Allen. And Ray Allen literally comes in, he shakes my hand, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Ray." And I was like, "I know who you are." Time shot in June. Like, "Hey, I'm Jeremy." And then, he literally has a full conversation. Just a lot different than LeBron, because LeBron was talking to his guy. He didn't pay attention to me. I was quiet. I was like, "Oh my God, LeBron." Ray Allen had a full conversation. And his conversation was, "Hey, you're intern?" I was like, "Yep." And he's like, "Awesome. I went to UConn." I was like, "I know this."
Right.
I know this, man.
Mr. Like, Hall of Famer. We got you. We know what it is.
He's like, "What school do you go to?" I was at FIU. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome." And he's like, "What do you want to study?" He's really engaged. We have a whole bus ride back to the arena because I had to pick him up from his intro shoot. And the one thing he told me that has stuck with me since I have been with the Heat is you need to work as if somebody's always watching you. And there's always somebody watching you, even when you think there's not. And that has stuck with me forever. And I tell it to interns, I tell it to anybody trying to get into the game, because the minute you slack up, the minute you want to get lazy, that's when you start losing the basics. And that's when somebody's like, "Oh, Jeremy's lazy. Look, Jeremy not doing this, or Jeremy's not picking up this, or look at Jeremy not doing that." So I've always kept that in my mind. That's honestly probably one of the best advices I've ever received as an adult. I was just like, whoa, like, I mean, it's also from Ray Allen. Like, this guy is a workaholic. His pedigree speaks for himself. So, that whole year, man, it was just really like, you have to pick it up. Like, this is professional sports. You have to work as hard as the guys that are working in the locker room, working in practice. The detail, the organization skills, being a professional in an office setting. You're not a fan. Like, you can't go and sit here and tweet, "Oh, LeBron James is out," or "Why is Spo doing this?" or "Why?" Yeah. Like, no. Ain't none of that. You work for the organization. So you can't be talking about basketball. "Jason Tatum sucks." You can't be tweeting that. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So that's the professionalism that I learned my first year. And it got me to, the whole year finish, and game operations was like, "Hey, your internship's over. Come over here." And I fell in love with it. Mid-year of my internship, I fell in love with marketing, and I fell in love with game presentation. And I was like, I want to do this. I don't want to be a scout anymore. I don't want to do community affairs. I want to do game presentation operations. And I've been here ever since.
Man, Jeremy, that's a live story. And for you to be able to have really Hall of Fame advice And like you said, Papi Cherry with 2 back-to-back Hall of Famers, if you will, NBA champions and the whole nine. And now for you to be able to hold on to that. And what ends up happening is a lot of interns don't get the opportunity to roll over. Like, and I can even say point blank for me, you know, I'm older than you. And, you know, in my internship capacity, it was a rough financial time in the city of New York at the time, but the plan was for me to roll over, but then the finances weren't there. And they're like, hey, I'm sorry, once your internship is done, like, you know, we're not going to be able to roll you over into this even, you know, 28 to 30 hour a week position. Like, you know, you got to peace out, you know, and I was crushed. So, you know, and I thought I worked hard. I thought I did the right things, but it just didn't work in the cards for me. But for you, it worked out because you were seen, you did what you needed to do, and you never forgot the information and the advice that you got to think initially, and, you know, be able to even jump departments, so to speak, you know, and now fall in love and find your passion. That's what's happening, you know. And I think when we're talking about, you know, career guidance, if you will, you have to be willing to try different things. So you recognize at that point, it's like, hey, well, I still want to be here. I'm still working in the NBA. Why would you not? Right? Like, why would you not do that? So I want to thank you for sharing that story, you know, for people out there. So talk to me a little bit more about what the job is, right? And then we also need to get into kind of like what it isn't, right?
Yeah.
But what is the job on a day-to-day basis for you? Hey, it's game night, you know, 7:30 tip. What's Jeremy R kind of rocking into?
You know, so you know, it's game presentation is everything when you come to a building, everything you see, hear, you feel, that's not the basketball players, right? So, you know, the music you see, the mascot, the dancers, the contest, the intro, the the check presentation, that's all game press. That's all game press. So for me, the way I look at it as I get to impact 19 to 20,000 people every game, and I'm not playing. Like the players are gonna do what they can, right? You know, Jimmy's gonna do what he can, Bam's gonna do what he can. They all, no matter what, they're always gonna have the higher, you know, not of affecting a fan's, you know, feelings. But I also have a way of I get to impact how you feel. Like, oh man, this song's on. Oh wow, like I can. Oh, I haven't heard this song in a while. Oh, that's a good. You know, this is a crucial moment. You're playing this song. You know, a mascot, Bernie, going to a kid inside, you know, on in section 120 to give him a gift. You know, that emotion, you know, sometimes people forget, like kids love Bernie. So you get to affect that. The dancers, making sure they're on court at the right time. So what I got to do is, you know, we have probably the best game director in all of sports, and Josh Goshen. He sets a standard, and you know, we all want to be the best, right? Like that's our shit. You know, we want to be the best in game press. We want to be on top of the moment. We want to, you know, make sure we're online. We're not doing no silly stuff. We're not making fun of the other team. We're professional, and we're gonna get the job done. But we're always gonna keep it Miami party atmosphere. But when it comes down time to grind, we got to go. And you know, for us, you know, that's so I just take the torch from him. You know, he's a director. He writes it. He puts up on a script of what the game's going to be, whatever corporate brings in, whatever corporate obligations we have to do, whatever happens on that. Then I have to make sure. Basically, he's a director. I'm the producer of a movie. He's sitting at his chair. I have to make sure everybody's in play. Everybody knows what. So he's the coach. I'm the quarterback. I got to run the plays and make sure we're as efficient as a well-oiled machine as possible. Everybody has their cars. Everybody knows where they got to be. That's kind of my role. And I, you know, my game, you know, on a game day, I'm starting at like a 10:30, 11 in the morning, and we don't have it until 7:30 at night. You know, and we're preparing the day before. You know, he sends a preliminary script. I look at it in my head. You know, I'll take a notepad and I'll put down some people's names on. Like, all right, this hoop troop, which is our hype team, you're doing this. All right, East Plaza 7:30, no, 6:30. Hey, we need 2 of them to go over there to go do a look live with our host Uptown Dale. So it's literally what he needs. All right, I'm filling in the gaps, and then you know I'll make sure everybody's script is done. I'll highlight everybody's script. All right, dancers, I need 2 at this point in this game. I need 2 at halftime. I need 3 for this, and then we're gonna do swag surf. And it's also coming up with ideas, man. It's pregame, so now we're in the summer, we're on vacation, but this mind doesn't stop, and that's the difference. This mind doesn't stop. I'm on TikTok. I'm thinking of, I'm setting up, trying to do ideas for next season. What are we going to do with the players and the videos you see with the players when they're doing like a kind of a game on a video? All right, that's us. That's my department. We come up with that stuff, and August, September, we shoot the players, and we run it. The jersey stuff. It's like, all right, well, different campaigns. Let's make that, so we had mashup jersey, everybody calls the ransom no jersey. They were called mixtape, volume, they were mixtape jersey in the first year. So we try to make it more music based and try to go a little different there and try to connect it from a city, from more Miami, so these are little things you got to come up with, from our standpoint. It's a lot of work, but it's fulfilling, it's very fulfilling because when things go over well, and it's well received, it's just like, hey, we made that impact. And you see it now, like, swag surf. Swag surf, a lot of teams do it. I'm pretty sure we were the first team to do it in the NBA, and it's carried over, and it's a fourth quarter thing we constantly go to, and it's been a tradition. It's creating traditions, and it's creating things that, when you play it, the fans not acknowledge it. They know it's coming. And that's how fulfilling this job is. It's hey, we have an impact with 19 to 20,000 fans that come into this building, especially when it gets to playoffs. It's such a rewarding feeling with this job.
Well, since you brought it up, I'm going to kind of even skip ahead and even what my own agenda is in terms of the questions I want to chat with you about. But I did want to ask you, how does a level change for you from regular season to playoff? Is it similar in some ways to like how the players are like, hey, we're turning it up on 1,000 because the fan now is extra hyped, they're extra crunk, they want to be excited and get involved. So can you save some of your best promotions and ideas for the playoffs? Like, how does that work for you leveling it up when playoff time comes around?
Obviously we'll look at what we'll do from a corporate obligation standpoint.
Sure.
Every corporate sponsor has, not some and some don't have it in written contract of what they're going to do in playoff. So, this year we did a Beach Ball Bonanza, which is a contest we'll do in section 122, 123. We'll put a volleyball net and we'll toss big old beach balls around. And the section with the least amount of balls gets, biosteel powder. And that was an obligation we had to do once every round. And once we knock those out, it's more of like, hey, let's turn this up. You have a sellout crowd. Let's turn it up. It's a lot different. Less silly stuff, more music. Hey, our music needs to be on point. Who are we playing? That's always matter, because if we're playing New York, let's not give them the same music that New Yorkers are going to hear. So we have to cut out. We cut out everything. I'm not. And this is me and my boss call. We're on the same page. It's, hey, we're not playing DMX. We're not playing. It hurts me. I love playing DMX. He's one of my favorite rappers. I'm not playing him. I'm not playing Rough Riders. I'm not playing Party Up in Here. We're not playing it. Fat Man Scoop, gotta cut it out. Gotta cut out Biggie. Gotta cut out Fat Joe. Gotta cut out all of that. No New York music when we're playing the Knicks.
Wow.
Miami base, because you know what? We're gonna have a lot of New York fans in here. We're not giving them.
You don't want them happy at all, huh?
No, we're playing Miami records, and we're gonna play, and we're gonna play the South. We're playing Atlanta. All right, no T.I., no Luda. It sucks. No Jeezy. Jeezy making an exception for it because Bam Adebayo's favorite song is Everything. So we'll make an exception for that one. But everything else, nope. So we'll look at the opponent matters from that standpoint, because you don't want to give them, the opponents, their city, any kind of acknowledgement of, back home. You want to keep it Miami, and you still want to turn it up a notch, So, those crucial moments we need to have video packages ready for. We need to have Bernie and our hoop troop the flags out, if we're going to run the flags out, to get the noise meter up. So it's a lot of different atmosphere. When the playoffs, you crank it up, it's go time, and you want our talent to have as much T-shirts and towels to throw out to the crowd, because we want that energy. You want to feel that home court. A lot of fans, you see, we'll see it on Twitter, like, oh, towels and T-shirts. Let me tell you something. I love the towels. I love the towel. Why? Because they look great. When you see those fans
visually,
visually, it's a little imposing when that sound meter is going up and you see Like it is a, that music's going. You see the crowd doing the towels. You can't do that with t-shirts. People are gonna wear what they want to wear. So you get those towels. I love it. Like it is like I tell my boss people all the time, like, oh, let's go towels. I hope we do towels because it's you want to create an atmosphere that is so like, oh, it's hard to play here because at the end of the day we're supporting our guys.
Yeah, I think that aspect of it to know that it's that leveled and nuanced and that thought out. I think a lot of people wouldn't really maybe understand, right? You just feel like, oh, you go to the same, and I've gone to multiple arenas, obviously, in my time, and I do hear a lot of the same musics, but I guess I've never really paid attention. You know what I mean? Even being in Miami, it was like, oh, who are they playing? But obviously, when I go, it's primarily Boston. So, at the end of the day, that nuance, I guess maybe I haven't caught on to, but definitely will be paying more attention now.
And you know what? Every team I think does a great job, and that's the beauty of what we do. It's kind of like checkers, and chess and checkers. It's like that. It's like strategy, and I think a lot of teams, when I thought Boston Celtics, they really let the fans, like their game plan really lets the fans take it. Like their fans are going to show how imposing we are. So when the Heat come in there, they want the Celtics fans just going up, and that they're so loud. They were so loud. And I was like, you know what? Everybody does what works for them. And that was the beauty of it. And that's why I was like, man, shout out to the Celtics game plan. It's like, you guys know what you're doing. You guys, if it works for you, keep doing it.
Right. Jeremy, I'm gonna transition slightly here because you mentioned, one of the players and Bam specifically. So I want to bring this to you. What do, or how often do the players maybe kind of like, hey, make requests? Can you play this song at this time? Does that happen? Or we're trying to get hype. You know what I mean? We need a boost of energy. Do you get into even that little bit of the kind of like the nitty gritty with some of the players and maybe even coaches?
We'll talk to them. I mean, they'll talk to MDOT. They'll talk to our DJs. They'll talk to our DJs. Oh, they'll relay the message, to our social team or whatever, and we'll hear it. A lot of times, what I like to do personally is when we're walking them or we see them on media days, I like to get to know these guys from a music standpoint. I like to pay attention. And that's what I personally like to do, is I like to pay, like, hey, man, like, you guys matter. Like, you got, I don't like to, I never want to be selfish in this, like, I don't ever want to be selfish on, oh, I think this song might work. Or no, what are the players like? So, Kyle, when his first year here, I had to escort him. And I try to, when I'm escorting, I'm with this guy for an hour and a half, so I want to at least get to know your music taste at least, or who you as a person, if we're going to be here for an hour and a half, I'm not going to be quiet, at least talk to you. Or so, I know he's from Philly, so I tried trying to talk to him, and he said, hey, Nuck If You Buck was his college song when he was in college. Like, that was a song they played in the locker room, Nuck If You Buck. So I kept that in my head. Everything by Jeezy. So Bam kind of mentioned that, and we play every time we play it. When Bam's going off, we go to a camera shot of him, and he's just like, he
acknowledges.
He knows.
Yeah.
When it's Jimmy is a country guy. He's a country guy, knowing his music taste. If you play it when he comes in, his mood changes and he's happy. He'll give you a lot more energy to do certain things and say certain scripts and for a media day. So we've added more Morgan Wallen because that's his guy. Luke Combs, which is, I love country, so you're not going to tug my arm here. When it came to the younger guys, they like a lot more, the newer hip hop. So I try to kind of, I'll try to play the newer hip hop just to see what gauges. And then I see them like, oh, who's playing that? And you see their eyes lit up. Like there's, Dwayne Dedman, when he was on the team, was Nipsey Hussle. Love Nipsey.
Yep.
PJ Tucker, love Meek Mill. So these are, Tyler Hero, he loves Drake. Caleb Martin, his favorite album of all time is Give It Your Die Trying. Omer's is Forest Hills Drive. Like when we're doing our media day things, I try to just add some music stuff in there. So we may never use it, but I want to know your music taste. Like I really want to know, because when you're working out and we're doing warm-ups, I could press this music and you're warming up, I'll play it for you just because, it's just, we'll have it up in our system. So, hey, we pay attention to you and we care.
Jeremy, you've always been a guy who cares. We're going to take a quick break here, man. We're chatting with my guy here, Jeremy Rivera, game operations specialist for the Miami Heat, dropping some dimes and some great knowledge here, man. We'll be right back here on Dope Interviews. Give me 2 seconds.
Are you ready to step up your style without compromising the planet? Introducing the exciting partnership between Blueview Footwear and the 19 Media Group Network. Just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 to start your sustainable style journey. Our friends over at Blueview Footwear are renowned for introducing the world's first fully biodegradable sneaker. By using plant-based plastics, they are leading a revolution in cleaner materials and manufacturing. They have sleek and contemporary styles that cater to a wide range of tastes. Blueview Footwear believes that fashion and sustainability can coexist harmoniously. Explore their incredible collection of eco-friendly footwear by visiting bit.ly/Blueview19. If you let us know you made a purchase, we'll shout you out on our next show. Again, just visit bit.ly/Blueview19 today, and you'll see the ultimate collaboration of fashion, sustainability, and media excellence.
And we're back here in Dope Interviews talking with my guy, Jimmy Rivera. He is the game operations specialist for the Miami Heat. Make sure you follow him on IG at Hollywood Rivera. Guy's always been Hollywood. You see the beard, you see the smile. He's swagged out. That's my dude. Jeremy, you've been giving us
you, bro. It's you. I remember Big Award would come into CVS and his t-shirt, chain in, just coming on like Bobby out here.
Man, long time ago.
Tuesday. We out here on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
Man.
You used to sit like this. You just sit like
I can't with you. my folks are gonna be like, who? Like they don't know me like that. So again, you've been giving us some great insight, man, and I really do appreciate you being as open and honest as you have been. And for me, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about both sides, right? So can you talk to us a little bit about, hey, all jobs have their challenges. So what are some of the challenges you face? Have you ever done a promotion that's, maybe gone left, whatever the case to be? How did you fix it? Were you able to fix it, in the moment, or did you say, hey, we'll just never do that again? Talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you've had to overcome and in the learning process, in your role.
I think in our job, we're live. We're a live show. So it's very, we have to be very on our, on our toes, man. We have to be paying attention. I know the opponent. It was against the Knicks, and I remember our hype team wasn't where they needed to be. They were called the Extreme Team back then. Now they're called the Hoop Troop, and I forgot where. And this was me. I was still a part-timer, so it took me 6 years to go from part-timer to full-timer. It took me a road. I had a road that a lot of people don't really travel. But I was a stage manager. The year we retired Shaq's jersey in 2016. And the guy I took the headset from, Sean Prospect, one of my mentors, man. The guy was amazing. I don't know how he was able to get our hype team on the same page just off a meeting and, hey, you're doing this, you're doing that. It didn't work for me. I tried it his way. It didn't work for me. And one of the times, man, I did it, and nobody was where they needed to be, and we messed up. I don't remember the exact activation, but I remember the opponent, and I think even we lost because like the Knicks fans were so loud. I'm like, where's our hype team? Like, you're supposed to drown these guys out. I was livid. And to combat that, I got a whiteboard, and I started. I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. And it's like, it's like you come into this class, and your duties are on the board. That's exactly what it looks like now. So every pregame, I'll go out there, I'll look at the script, and I'll put everybody from start to finish. I'll put their duties, and to make sure, hey, you're doing this. Warren, hey, you're going to be in the first timeout, the first quarter. You're going to do item of the game. Jeremy, you're going to be part of the shooting contest, getting rebounds. John Smith over there, hey, you're going to be in section 120, 121, first quarter break, part of a contest with Dale, like stuff like that. So, hey, everybody's held accountable, and we do a pregame meeting. It has been the easy flow. Everybody's held accountable, and that has been probably the best way we've took a mistake and made it into a positive, because it was just one game. And it's funny because you come to the game, you don't realize it. No one realizes it unless you're backstage. Me, maybe 2 people realize it. Everybody else is like, oh, that's part of the show. But I'm a perfectionist. Like, I want to be great. I want us to be perfect. And, I want us to be perfect because I expect us, hey, just because I don't care what's on the court, we need to do our job. And so, sometimes I'm tough, but I'm tough because I know we can be great. And the next day, I swear, everybody, boom, boom, everybody was on what they need to do. And I even text, our hoop troop all the time. I'm like, man, the games when we're on point, perfection. Like, you could tell, like it is like, hey, everybody was where they need to be. And especially it always happens that, even when I lost, like, it's like, oh, you guys did a great job. And you guys knocked out the park. So yeah, I think that's probably one of those. But every game is live, so you always have to. You got to take it game by game. We're not always going to be best. I'm not always best, man. There's especially the first time. Like, sometimes it's like the first couple of. It takes me a couple of games sometimes to remember. Like, I got to be here, or I got to communicate this. And I ain't perfect. I'm not. But like, I just brushed it off. I'm like, you got to be like a player. You have to be in this live element. You have to be like a player where you're just like, all right, I messed up. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's okay. Breathe. We'll get better next time.
Yeah.
As long as we acknowledge our mistakes and we look to change them and be better. And for me, it's sometimes camera shots. It's letting a opposing fan in the camera shot. It's the contestant wasn't prepped. Our host not prepped. That's on me. If something looks bad on camera in the game contest, that's on me. And I need to get better. I need to be better because my director basically gave me a silver platter. Here, make a meal. If he did his job, now that's on me. If something doesn't do right, that's on me.
Well, I can always appreciate your level of accountability, Jeremy. And, similarly, I think we have similar mindsets just in general. That's why we've always kind of gotten along. But yeah, something doesn't go right, I'm gonna be thinking about that, stewing on it for a little while and figuring out how to tighten it. But as they say in Ted Lasso, man, you got to be a goldfish and kind of keep that thing pushing, bro. So what I mean, just let that thing slide off. How often do you get notice that celebs might be in the house, and like, do you get celebs who like, hey, I wanna be part of the game in some capacity, or is it really sometimes just a feel like, hey, such and such is sitting over here, and then you just kind of go over to them and say, hey, would you want to do something at halftime, or the case to be? How does that process work?
Yeah, it's both. Sometimes we'll find out. I think in the finals, we found out like a day before. It was a lot different in the finals, where it was like we knew, because it was either an NBA thing, it was either like we knew who was coming. So we were able to prep a lot better, and there was a lot more. It was a lot easier to prep. But in season, sometimes it's just who shows up. Sometimes we find out, like in the day, like oh, Neymar's coming. Oh, okay, he's Jimmy's friend. All right, we'll put him on. Oh, J. Cole's coming. All right, cool. Let's put him on. We do have our regulars, Khaled, who's always in his same regular seats. Flow Rider, in his same spot. When Dwyane's coming, or Shaq is a former Heat player that has a video package, we'll take time to readjust our game, because we want that moment. We want to acknowledge Dwyane. We want to acknowledge Shaq, especially when we're playing Eastern Conference Finals. Those Shaq, those are moments. Dwyane, those are moments. You want the crowd to feel that. Excuse me. So it's very hit or miss. Not hit or miss, but it's just very like it fluctuates. Sometimes, especially like now we're these reggaeton artists that are coming up, they ask to do something. They'll ask to shoot a free throw. They'll ask like, hey, talk about their album coming out. So we've been integrating that a little more because you want to show these newer uppercomers some love and hope hey, look, these guys are gonna be probably the new faces of music. So it's just it depends. Especially with USA Soccer coming back. We had those guys come in and they signed up. We got a soccer ball. They signed it. They threw it in the crowd. And we learned about it the day of or the day before. And that's where we were able to buy a soccer ball so they could sign it and throw it in the crowd. So it was very it's very it fluctates, but it's cool. I mean, every celebrity usually loves being on camera. And we'll go up to them. That's part of my job and my co stage manager will go up to them. Hey, hey, Chris Tucker. Hey, we're gonna put you on camera. Just look up. Then they're like, all right, cool, yeah. Very rarely we'll get no. Very rare. I can't remember a artist that said no. That said, hey, I don't want to do it. Usually the ones that don't want to, they'll hide in the suite. You know, it's because they don't want to get mobbed and they just want to enjoy the game, which is cool. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's who wants to do it, but most celebs are really cool and they'll get a jersey and it's fun. It's always fun to, meet people that it's a cool perk of the job but it's again, you gotta be professional and say, hey, how you doing? And I'm not gonna lie to you, there's times where I do want to, you guys need a photo, but no, man, like you gotta be professional. Hey, especially Chris Tucker, like he was in the finals and we brought him on court and he did a towel wave. Like, you're it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Rush Hour 2. You're like, and part of that, when we announced him, I was like, hey, we got to put a Michael Jackson record. We got to put a Michael Jackson record. When we announce him, so because Jamal Lee, like, come on.
I love it. I do. I love it. And I think, again, when you're operating in space, like you said, you continue to allude to it. You do need to be professional. And I think the first time I was in a locker room or at something and I was like, oh, you turn off that fan moment and it's in there. I remember I had to, I had to bring my wife to a press event that I went to one time. And she's kind of like, and I'm like, babe, no. It's like, no, don't do that. You just kind of have to chill or whatever the case would be.
Oh, man.
But again, Miami being Miami, you're just going to see the top of the top. You know what I mean? Next to LA, New York, whatever the case would be, nobody's attracting more celebrities at their games than what Miami is doing. Again, save LA and New York. So
yeah, I mean, dude. So I say I was a country guy. I think for me there was we were supposed to get Luke Combs and Morgan Wallen. They both didn't come, but we got word they might come. I was texting my girl, and I was like, Luke Combs is first of all, Luke Combs right now for me is my number.
That's your guy.
That's my guy. Like he's my guy. Like I will travel to see this man perform. He is my guy. I met him once. He came right before the pandemic, but I told my girls that, babe, Luke Combs might come. I might have to ask for a photo. You know what? I didn't get the photo last time. I shook his hand. I might have to ask for a photo this time, but it was Tua. Tua came last season, and I remember he just beat. I think this is when they're on a win streak, and I was like, I will sometimes pull rank. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna give the jersey, or I'm gonna talk to her. And I think Tua was one. I was like, hey, but he lucky it was a suite, and I was able to at least talk to him for a bit before we put him on camera. Let him know we're giving you a jersey. Bernie's coming in. I was able to at least talk. But now for me, I was like, oh, it's kind of like there's some people I do geek out for. Well, like inside me, I'm geeking out. Where I have to at least stay professional outside and inside. Oh man, I am geeking.
I hear that, brother. I hear that. Last couple, man, before we let you ride out, man, I really do think this has been so insightful. You shared a lot of great stories, but is there a funny one, one that kind of sticks out where maybe even if it wasn't funny at the time, you look back and it's like, yeah, that was some wild shit. Like what's kind of one of your funniest moments that you've dealt with?
Ooh, funniest moments, man. I don't know. There's just so many good ones.
Sure.
There's just so many great moments that I've had. I think for me, it was we had, man, I don't know if this is one of the funniest, but we had Shaq's jersey retirement. We brought out, we gave one of his gifts was the 18-wheeler that he came to the arena with, right, when he first got here in 2004. Sure. We recreated it into a smaller version for him to take home. But it was like a go-kart. You put his mom in it to drive from our corner onto the court. This thing's been working all day. The gas pedal, I think, detaches while she's mid-drive.
No, fam.
Push that thing onto the court with Shaq's mom on it. And I was just like, oh my, looking back on it, we had to push Shaq's mom on a go-kart 18-wheeler mock-up onto the court during his jersey retirement. And, back then you're like, oh my God. But looking back on it, it's kind of funny that we had to push Shaq's mom on,
Sure.
Because she was all about it. She was loving it. Shaq, Shaq's family was so great during the jersey retirement. And I think the most part, man, about my job is I have so many stories and memories of things I've witnessed on court and One of my favorite memories is me. It was Dwayne Wade's buzzer beater against Golden State. I'm in our corner. My VP is to my left. VP doesn't show a lot of emotions. He's a great guy, man. He's like a father figure to us all in the department, and he doesn't show a lot of emotions. But when we win, he, sometimes I'll peek and I'll see how to smile. And as my co-stage manager, Dwyane got that shot off, and we all hugged each other, and it was like, oh my, did we just witness this? And then me and my co-stage manager had to lead the dancers onto the court. And, I have a picture on my phone where it's me, it's a still from a TV angle. It's Curry, Durant, me and my co-stage manager watching. And I remember where I was. I'm right behind KD and Steph. And I see Steph look at KD and it's like, he got it off. And I remember watching Dwyane get on there. I'm just like, there's moments, man, where I'm just like, yo, like even Jimmy's like 50, I think it was like what, 56 or 53 against the Bucks. Like these moments that I've had where sometimes I'm like, I'll tweet it out like, man, that might have been a top 10 moment of my career watching visually. So I don't think I have the funny moments, but I have like these moments of where I was like in the building when this happened and then this happened. And I'm looking forward to that next chapter, man. I've done Dwayne's jersey retirement, Bosch's, Shaq's. I think the jersey retirements, man, those are always so fun to do.
I can even speak from, experience because I went to cover Wade's, and saw you there, dapped you up on the corner like that too. And you were beaming, fam. So I felt like at the time I was like, this has to be like the pinnacle for you. Like, you know what I mean? Like that has to be one of the, like, if not the greatest moment, for you to be a part of that. And somebody who means as much to Miami as Dwyane Wade does, for you to basically be operating and facilitating, a good part of that jersey retirement. Like, talk to me a little bit about that and what that meant.
Dude, that was we did that 2 years, right? We did his last season and then we did his jersey retirement. Man, the jersey retirement one for me, I mean, it's all of us in a room. It's all of us in a room kind of pitching out ideas on what video is going to run, what video we're going to do, how we're going to structure this. Dwyane, we came to agreement 3 days for Dwyane. To be a hometown guy, the reason I love the Miami Heat is because of Dwyane Wade. I didn't, Shaq is my favorite player of all time. Mm-hmm. That, I just kind of followed Shaq's career. I knew him with the Lakers, and Shaq to me was always the tallest guy, kind of in my grade. So I always wanted to play like Shaq. I was like, even when
you're not that tall, but okay, I got you.
Growing up, I had a growth spurt compared to everybody else. So when we're playing in the neighborhood, I always had to play center. And then everybody kind of caught up. I stopped growing. So Shaq was always my favorite player, but Dwyane made me a Heat fan when we drafted him. And I remember watching him hit the shot against the Hornets. I believe I was in 6th grade when we traded for Shaq. 7th grade. So that, that's you're talking about middle school me. That's when I really started getting into basketball. And the Heat hit my franchise, and to be in a room figuring out how are we going to do his jersey retirement is a feeling that I can't even explain. It is like you're coming up with what we're doing, how we're doing, and then eventually it was a room full of like a handful of us. And for me to be in that room, it's just like sometimes I have to sit back. I'm like, this is insane. This is crazy, because we have to game plan this. And at the same time, when we're doing this, is when we're talking about it, in the back, and when we're running these shows, especially that Friday night, and you're getting people in and out in the back, and it's kind of like an award ceremony of his life and his career. And then that night on the Saturday, it's, making sure who's here and putting them on position. You're just like, this is crazy. But it's a fulfilling moment when everything comes to, when we get emails the next few days from him and his team. Like, thank you so much. Like, we appreciate you for bringing this jersey retirement to life. That is like, what? Like
It was
Dwayne
fire, and
Wade,
I'm not even a Heat fan, but I mean, even being there again, I'm appreciative of any NBA player, but somebody of his ilk too. But to be there live and see what y'all did for that, it was an amazing situation.
him and his team were so appreciative,
Yeah,
so appreciative of it, and to me, that's amazing. Like that is, man, that's the reward. Like
yeah, that's the stuff right
not
there.
only me being here, but like you like what we did, and I was like, oh man, like so you really there's nothing like, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people around the industry they work for teams that they didn't grow up liking or they didn't they have no really connection to. For me and a lot of people in my department, I'm pretty sure my whole department, we all grew up Heat fans.
Yeah,
So a lot of us in our, when we come up with these things, it's not only for Miami, it's for this, for the fans, and it's for this organization, and it's because we genuinely love what we do and genuinely love this organization.
well, nobody does it better than you, family. What you've been able to do in this space, is top notch. And I would be remiss, and I got to have you kind of go out on this one. Kudos to you. I know you were basically selected to be game ops, if you will, for All-Star this year or this past year. When Utah. What does that mean for you? Like, what type of accolade in your professional career is something like that? And I mean, obviously, it helps that you work in an amazing market with a team that has the history that it does and has had so much success, and that lends to more memorable moments than working maybe for a different organization. But they were like, hey, we want you to come help produce an NBA league event. What was that like for you?
Amazing. A bucket list of mine that I really, really wanted. When I got full time, I really wanted that. That was an honor. For me, it was this whole season has been a blessing. To go to the All-Star and to be in the NBA Finals, like the Eastern Conference Finals champions. Like it's an unprecedented run that for me I would never take for granted, and I'm just so appreciative to be here. Like it's sometimes it's like, man, I'm just a kid from Hollywood, Florida, bro. Like at the end of the day, like to be at All-Star to me is like, something I really wanted. It's the league acknowledging, how good of a job you do. Again, like I said, our game director is to me the best in business, in all sports. And he went for his sixth time, and my co-stage manager has been about 6 times as well. And they already had the list and they already had people going, and it was very sad. I didn't get picked initially, and then they needed somebody, and my people vouched for me, and I went in there and I did the job, and I went in there to first very kind of like, hey, I'm just very happy to be here. I'll put me wherever. And we were in the second building in Huntsman. So the celebrity game, HBCU, the practice, and the G League. So I was with that crew, and what a great crew that was. It was so fun. I was with my people. I was with my co-stage manager. I was with my director. Our camera director went as well. Uptown Dale went. Bernie went. So it was home. It's a lot of times when you're working with these people, the calls I'm hearing from my game director what to do. It's like, oh, it's like Peyton Manning, Marv Harrison. Hey, run the go route. Like, hey, I already know what you want. Like, I already know how you and I communicate. So it was very easy to train. It was very simple for me, right, when I got there. And it was just basically it took. I told Uptown Dale this. So it was like it's a little different because at home, you're kind of running the show. Here, I have to go back. Like I just, hey, play your role, do what you got. Hey, you have to be with Dale. All right, I'm with Dale. Like, hey, I have to just make sure everybody, I don't have to be on top of everybody because we're all professionals here. You got everybody here, the stage manager back home. I literally don't have to worry about as much. Like we're all stars here. So that was the cool part which was like, I don't have to really worry. Like, hey, man, like it's so easy to trust you guys. It's so easy to trust everybody because we're all here to do a job. And I can just focus on being with Dale and making sure he needs to be what he needs to do. When you have the Sixers stage manager is getting the contestants, and the Atlanta stage manager is, making sure that the props are ready, and you have some of the Jazz folks helping us, and it's just like, oh, cool, hey, just bring Dale in. I'm like, all right, cool, ready to go, and then all right, let's do our next thing. And then I'm hearing the call from my my boss and the Washington Wizards game director, and she is just like ours, like Josh. She was very just easy. I was like, this is smooth. And the Lakers and Kings game directors, though they were great. They were great. So it was easy. Like, one day it was Wizards Heat, and the next day it was Kings Lakers, and for them, it was the calls were just like, all right, cool. It's communicating a little differently, but these guys are all all-stars. They are all professionals. Like, this is simple, and it was fun. It was fulfilling. It was amazing, man. It was really cool, and it was a blessing. And I hope, to keep getting the call and then keep performing, because that's the goal. To constantly keep going, and to always know that when I go up there, I'm representing my family, I'm representing my friends, I'm representing everybody that supported me, and my my girl was so supportive, and it was awesome. Like, the cool part was when I was there is my family texted me photos, and my girl texted me photos, and my friends, and that was cool. Like, that was awesome. That was a really awesome. It was like, hey, they're seeing me work. Like, that's awesome. So man, that All-Star was great, and Indiana, I hope to be there.
Wow, I have no doubt your star continues to rise, my brother, and I'm grateful, for you. It's been amazing to watch your journey, to see you become the individual that you are, so mature, so humble, so grateful, always been family oriented, and you take that into your professional career working with the Miami Heat. So I want to thank you. Thank you for sharing your story. There's more meat on this bone. We could have kept going for a longer amount of time. More stories to tell.
Might need a part two. We
might need a part two. We might need a part two for real. But for now, that is going to do it. He is Jeremy Rivera, again, game operations specialist for the Miami Heat. Make sure you follow him on social at Hollywood Rivera. Again, I'm Warren Shaw. You can follow me at Shaw Sports NBA or dope_interviews. You know what it is. This has been another dope interview, and we're out.
Thank you, Warren. Appreciate you, my brother.
My guy.
Together we stand, divided we never. The vision is one, striving for the better. Working as a team, working toward a dream. It's not even work when the team is the dream. On a united front, we got our own back. A band of brothers to counteract any attack. One heart in fact, forget what the blood say. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. So let's do it for the love, give to the max. Listen to opinion, but react to facts. And remember that together with a shh, but separate, just pieces of it. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
Family represent like a tree with names on it. We're free, no chains on it. Relieved, the pain's gone, I can see. We come together like questions on the quiz. Mojo, flow, and viz, man, you know what it is. And if ignorance is bliss, you're gonna hate this lesson. Organized intellect like a tropical depression. My symbol is the cross, a mic, and ghost peppers. Cause I'm just a black sheep growing up to be a shepherd. Moonlighting as a weapon to protect the children. Every brother is a father, dynasties we're building. Max, J, and K, Bay, and Isaiah, next level of the family foundation. Understand me?